Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new game called Citizen Sleeper 2. We're gonna go ahead and play that today. It just released on January 31st. And we're gonna go ahead and play it. So we can be an operator, we could be an extractor, or we could be a mechanist or a machinist. The machinist has engineer level 2, interface level 1, and intuition level 1, and engage has none. With the operator, we have engineer level 0, interface level 2, endure can't do, intuition level 1, engage level 1. And with the extractor, we have engineer level 1, interface level 0, endurance level 3, intuition can't do, and engage level 1. I think we're going to play our first game as a machinist. Actually no, I take that back. We're going to play our first run as the operator. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing subsequently like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relying sense data all the same. Then in context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your breath in 0G, this emotion coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions have somehow obscured and scattered. Among all the disarray, only one familiar thing arrives, the fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper, the voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, a familiar name, a mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted, one person sleeping. Until their debt is worked away, their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That's what you are. But you've escaped. You remember that now. Broke free of your corporate creators. Essen ARP. In search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes and a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensations to fear. One you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, a sharp smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over you, your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away to the corners of your vision, but to find something you understand. Your body doesn't respond, but I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know and have known for a long time. Stabilizer. The drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitably decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid rolling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial. But it would be a waste on you now. After what you have done to this body of yours, he looks at you with palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer, and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search for your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up, Lane barks the command, and you hear the sound of impact, of pain, from somewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of your synthetic muscles. Free, are you? Elaine smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free, you're just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard, and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it, but your emulation. You feel one of your hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body. Then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugging into you looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel a hand steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey, he moves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from your wrist. Sleeper, help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you, and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tugs the connector and clear and pulls you up. You see the room you are in for the very first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see a dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you. Then you are out in all the brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley. The one who guides you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eyes. What's going on, Sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead, and it floats away in the swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown cross his face. Don't mess with me, Sleeper. That's not funny. Here, come closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for an answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city. Growing on the back of a vast sea of hexagonal solar cells. Shadowed by them, you open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale. An instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard in his face, the slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare, nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. He is speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process, and He lifts his head to stare at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns to and kicks off down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. Dark side. Sprawling urban station. As you are led through the passages, the serviceway of the stations, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Dark Side feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle. The rhythms of the station flowing over you, along with the crowds, you recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, a promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you in a cage. There, your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic, of fear continues. You are Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold dark. Wait. Your guide holds up a hand. You stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel open up into a wide open bay with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels, the docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Utsubu. Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this is not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye and you see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. You see he sees you looking and it slips away and slips it away. He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, right? Alright. He looks pained when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete. He sighs and shakes his head. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches your face for signs of recognition. I got that. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads! He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. Alright, now here's the tutorial. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks, where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like dice actions you will encounter later. Skill checks can have positive, neutral, or negative outcome. The better the rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on the check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more in the guide to the section of pause menu. You wait a breath, then glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked, at the tightly sealed door. A control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get this open. Hack the door. We have a 50% positive, 50% neutral, or break the seal. 50% neutral, 50% negative. We're definitely going to go for interface with the 50% positive, 50% neutral. And we got the positive outcome. You shift to the control panel, your fingers dancing across the keys. Without thinking, you access the maintenance layer and trigger a fire safety venting procedure. The panel drones out a klaxon, and the door pops open with a hiss. Go, go! Seraphin flies past you through the tunnel, or the doorway into the docking tunnel. You see the two guards approaching fast across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open, and you both rush inside. Quickly, Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you into the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on. The rig's drive rumble rumbles into life, and Seraphim slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. And there we go. As the ship glides into place on the connected bridge, its automatic systems nudge the port's docking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Seraphim burned hard out of Darkside, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphim breaks the silence. We're good, Sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. We certainly did. He turns, and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said that this exact same thing to him before in the same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphim reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated when your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize it's just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short, percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphim kicks off from the seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the railing on either side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlight in cold cyan. We need a plan, he glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly, he sighs. We hide here. Seraphim glances around. I hope you don't mean on the rig. He smiles a little, his teasing still a little unsure. His smile fades. Maybe, but on the approach, Hexport looks like a pretty small place to disappear into. We have bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights at the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there are plenty of opportunities here for us. If we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the quarter. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along hand over hand in 0G. We already emptied the tanks on this thing. He slaps his hand against the ship's side. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm going to get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old contacts. People that might throw us an easy contract. You, glancing over your shoulder, you keep out of trouble. I can handle myself. Sheriff stops at the airlock. Look, Sleeper, you aren't yourself, he sighs. Stopping the reboot halfway through, he pulls a worn crew jacket from the locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams his arms into his sleeve. I don't want you passing out in... He stops. It'll take both of us. Seraphim sighs. I hate it when you're right. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts at you. Put this damn hood up, will you? You take it, slip it on. Thank you. Seraphim nods. He stabs the button at the bottom to open. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open, and Seraphim glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will look for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet here, back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again, shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe you find yourself something to eat. Suddenly, you recognize Seraphim's instincts to look after you. A flash of relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphim throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hands, you see it's a stack of cryo chits. These should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies, he grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphim kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, alright? He shouts as he leaves, "Take it slow." And with that, he's gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. Make a plan. You try to think ahead of what might be coming. You'll need work. That's the first step. But then what? What then? Elaine will be coming eventually. The sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, and run. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer you. You kick off and glide into the port. Alright, more tutorial. Welcome to Citizen Star Super 2, Starward Vector. The game runs in cycles, which means during which you can perform actions with dice. Use cryo to buy food, stock, food, fuel, supplies, and items. The process clocks towards a new scene and events. You can review guide tutorials at any time. Alright, let's go to the Hexport docks. Yeah, we use our dice to give our probabilities. Thank you. Let's go ahead and chat to the crews. Let's go ahead and do this. We have a 25% chance it's positive. We got the negative outcome. Reduced our energy. You just progressed a clock. Clocks track your progress towards both positive and negative events. We're gonna go ahead and try again. Oh wait, no, actually, let's leave there. And let's come over to the Hexport Exchange. We'll do better over here. Let's go ahead and impress the brokers, getting 100% positive. Here we go, that gave us 2, and that also made us discover a new location. The Hexport Trade Hall. The buy fuel, fill fuel, buy supplies, fill supplies. Alright, let's go ahead and use our cryo to make a purchase for some supplies. Then let's go back to the exchange. We're going to go ahead and pop this in, which upgrades it to a 3, which gives us 25% positive, 50% neutral, 25% negative. Alright, we got a neutral outcome. And we'll try one more time. Got the negative outcome, which reduced our energy, but also increased our rules of the exchange. Okay. And it also gave us access to this. Here you can eat in exchange for cryo. Eating gives you energy and stops you from starving. Different foods give different amounts of energy. I thought that was what supply was. Unfortunate. So, looks like we'll have to go back to the trade hall. No, not the trade hall. Go to the Hexport docks. And let's go ahead and, I suppose, use our last dice to try to track the crews for the neutral income. Good, we got neutral income. You have used all your dice for this cycle. You need to end the cycle at the ship, the rig, to re-roll it. Okay, let's come here. The rig is your ship, and home is standard starward belt. While the rig is docked at the hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Banks, use dice to reduce stress. Galley, use supplies to regain energy. Other locations will unlock as you play. Alright. Let's see, we're having Seraphim focus on odd jobs. This is the clock. Alright, let's go to the rig gallery. We're going to go ahead and make a meal. That'll make us eat up. Thank you. Then we'll leave and go to the rig bunks. But we can't do that. And then we need to end our cycle. And with that, I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload. I do upload every single day. We're going to get through this dialogue, and then I'm going to end the episode. So, help us hit our subscriber goal of 150 subscribers. As of the recording of this video, we're currently at 133. So it's a little ways away, but because of all you beautiful people, I know we can do it. We're in trouble, Sleeper. Seraphim leans into the bunks, getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor toward the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes and gliding down the length of the rift. The cool air makes you shiver, Seraphim's silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through the side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphim inside, holding onto a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving into in the zero-G energy engine room. You know what these are? Fuel pipes? Seraphim shrugs. Close enough. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air, and before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We're lucky the reserve tanks is empty, otherwise, he shakes his head, it would have been bad. But he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to local region only. He dumps the large lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it. Seraphim sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphim whacks the engine housing again, harder this time, just not our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines. His frustrations evident, violence of his movement. We will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try tracking them down? I'll take a look at things around here, see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tanks. He glances up from his work. From what I heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place for ship fitters. Mind if you can do some recon while I sort this place out? It's on the other end of the station. Okay, I'll have a look. Seraphim keeps working. Wait, Seraphim pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt, he frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. And we can't leave. Exactly, Seraphim says, which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no shapeshifter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles, weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, and the clanking sound of Seraphim's cleanup efforts echo through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. Okay, and with that, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload. I do upload every single day. Bye-bye!